Welcome guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're stopping at the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out. I would appreciate your support. So today we're gonna still learning about Spanish. I would call this a part 2 of the Spanish alphabets. So if you haven't seen my video on Spanish alphabets, stop right now, just go to watch my video. Once you're done and come back. So in my last video, I spoke about the Spanish alphabets, the sounds and everything, right? So I kind of left some stuff out. So today, we're gonna go over what I didn't show or talk about in my video. And that's gonna be really the letter D, C, G, and double L's, and then Y. And I'll give you some examples, okay? So we're gonna start with the letter D. So in Spanish, the letter D really sounds like a D or a TH, like a the, like I told you, right? So for instance, here in Spanish, you guys remember how to say this, right? Verdad, verdad, all right? So remember how the letter V and B could be used interchangeably? So you can literally say verdad or verdad, right? So while I'm doing this class, I just want to make sure that I go over like how Spanish is spoken on the streets, how they have different dialects from different countries and things like that, right? But in proper Spanish, it would be like verdad, right? So for instance, in the Caribbean Spanish, this would probably sound like this. Bel, and then da. So they would chop off the D right here, and then the R might be changed into a L. Like mostly like you might hear this in DR, Puerto Rico, maybe Cuba as well. So like Caribbean Spanish. So instead of verdad, you might hear belda, belda, all right? So we're gonna move to the letter C. C, it has two sounds. It has a S sound, it also has a K sound. So in my last video, I missed the I. So CE and then CI, they really sound like a S. So when the C is accompanied with an E or an I, it will sound like a S or a TH like a th sound, specifically if you're from southern Spain, right? So this would sound like a se or C, right, in Latin America. But in southern Spain, it would sound like a TH would be like a the or thi, okay? And C sounds like a k when it's accompanied with a O or a U. This would sound like a ko. This would sound like a ku, all right? We're gonna go past this real quickly because I had done this in my other video, okay? So next we're gonna go to the letter G, which sounds like G in Spanish. So G, remember I told you G, G-E or G-I, right? Which is right here. This would give it a sound like a H or H, especially if you're from Spain, right? So G-E or G-I would sound like a G or G and then G. So it would give it sound like a phlegm sound, more like. And if you move to the G up here, to make it sound like a G, it's gonna be a G-U, then it would sound like a G. So to continue, I'll give you some examples right here when the G could sound like a G or like a H. For instance, when it's accompanied with an E or an I, right? For instance, right here, this would sound like género. Género, it sounds more like a H sound, specifically if you're from South America. But in Spain, it would be more like a phlegm to it. It would be like género, all right? Which means genre or genre, depends how you pronounce this. And this would sound like gigante or gigante, which really means giant. For it sounds like a G with a U, this, for instance, would be guiar. Guiar, which means to guide, right? And this right here would be guerrero, which means warrior, right? So notice the I has like an accent on top of it. If it didn't have an accent, it'd probably be like guiar, guiar, right? Because the A is actually more aspired than the I. We'll get to that at the bottom right here, right? And then the next letter is gonna be the Z. All right, so I told you the Z sounds like a S or a TH sounds, right? Specifically if you're from southern Spain. And we have the Z right here, for instance, like zeta. That's literally how you say Z in Spanish. Zeta. But if you're from Spain, southern Spain, it'd be like theta. It'd be like a TH sounds. This in Latin America would be like corazón, but in southern Spain it'd be like corazón. All right. Now we're gonna move to the double L's, right? So double L's and then Y can be used interchangeably. Well, not really, excuse me. They just sound the same, but you cannot interchangeably use them, okay? So they would literally sound like a Y, or like a J, or like a sh. If you're from Argentina, they really use this sound right here. For instance, calle. You could literally say calle, or you could say calle, or if you could say calle, which means street in Spanish, right? And the next one is gonna be llamar, which means to call, all right, over the phone, or like someone is called like a name, right? So the double L's literally sounds the same like here. So you could say llamar, or llamar, or you could say llamar, right? Specifically if you're from Argentina. So for instance, this is yo. In English, this means I, not the yo in English. This is a subject pronoun, which means I, right here, right? You could say yo, yo, or sho. Sho, llamar, calle. Calle, llamar, yo. Yo, llamar, calle. All right, so the next, we're gonna move to the vowels in Spanish, right? So as you can see, the vowels are A, I'll say in Spanish, A, E, O, U. In the alphabets, they don't really count this as another vowel. Linguistically speaking, I would say so. Even each sound would be like a vowel itself. I mean, a letter itself, right? And then Y. So as you can see right here, the vowels that are more aspired are E, I, or I with the accent on top of it. For instance, when you have O combined with an E, this O would sound like a W. It would sound like a we, or U, E, it would sound like a we. That's in Spanish, not English we, okay? And we have IE right here. This would sound more like a ye. Or you could say J or she if you're from Argentina, right? And you have UI. UI would sound like a W. The U right here would sound like a W, so it would sound like a we. And UI right here. Oh, excuse me. The only time a UI, this would sound like a UI, is if it's like an onomatopoeia. So if you hit yourself and you're like, uy. So this would be the uy. That's how it would sound like, right? Uy. But in most cases, it's gonna be we. For instance, like cuidar, which means to take care of, right? So this would sound like a k, u, I, d, ar, cuidar, all right? And then if we get to the AI would sound like a I pretty much. And remember in my last video, I forgot to mention that Y, there are two ways of saying it in Spanish. Last time I said ye, I forgot the other one was Y. So this ye, it could sound like a J, or ye, or she, okay? So if you guys have any questions, just leave me a comment down below. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and then share it and give it a thumb up. Thank you. So before I finish, I want you guys to know that when you're learning Spanish in school, what you learn in school is more like educationally correct or grammatically correct, right? Maybe linguistically correct, but when you go outside on the streets, you're conversing with people outside or from different countries, they're not really gonna take their time to speak the language properly or grammatically correct, right? So that's why I will try my best on this journey right here. As we're learning Spanish together, I will show you the proper way or the grammatically correct way of saying things, and I will also try to say it, show you how you would say it in on the streets or other people who have different dialects and stuff like that. For instance, right, like verdad, like I show you right here, right? And also we're gonna talk about the verbs in my next video. Hopefully we get to talk about verbs conjugations, the AR verbs, the stresses on the verbs and everything. And then that's pretty much it. We'll just keep this short and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.